Trash talkers, Gruntworks Nation. It is I, the Big Earl.
Trash talkers,
and I'm here
Nation
because my phone volume is still on, so you probably heard that. And Corey's internet is frozen again, but he will get there. That doesn't really bother us because they're our sponsor. And so if they don't get their internet squared away with their ability to reach you folks, it's not our problem. They're still going to give us the money. Anyways, they give us money to do our show, to do all the bells and whistles. And now they get their first Wednesday of the month to talk about VA loans. And I am happy to do that because the VA loan has been very successful for me. It has been very successful for a lot of veterans. However, sometimes it can be a drag. Right. And so these guys are here to dispel the rumors and to make you make money with it. Right. And that's the whole goal of Veteran Trash Talk, is not to make money, but is overall wellness. And part of wellness is finances. So if you're able to not worry about finances, that's just one more thing off your plate that now you can go focus your energy on something more productive, something more awesome. Now, we have a lot of big things coming up. I don't know if you've seen the events on Veteran Trash Talk, but Buddy is going to be live in Boston, April 29th with the 5th Principle of Patrolling. I, unfortunately, will not be live with him on site. I will be remote because I am having my retirement party from the United States Army the next day. So that is why I can't go. However, the Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation, they were on the show, and we are going to chronicle their entire trip, and we're going to do the live shows from each one of their stops that they do. And remember, it's a 3,700-mile bike ride from Boston to Coronado, California. And they're stopping in Bloomington, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, and then Coronado, California. And Buddy and I will be there with the 5th Principle Patrolling doing that. And we're going to bring that story to you guys to honor not only just the 13 fallen from the last Afghanistan debacle, but we're also going to honor all of our veteran brothers and sisters with this ride. So it's going to be a big deal, lots of news coverage. We're going to be there, so make sure you guys check it out. Now that we've done our plugs in with that, if you're on here and you have a question, all right, so if you're on Gruntworks, we have our fake Asian Chris watching that. So ask a question and Corey will answer it. On Veteran Trash Talk, I am monitoring that. So if you have a VA loan question, ask it now or forever hold your peace. Actually, don't forever hold your peace. All right. That's not the way it works.
We'll get back to you later.
Yeah, you can email. All right. We always plug in zach.farkas@vmsloans.com and they will get to you. Corey, what's your email?
It's my first name dot last name at vmsloans.com.
Okay, so it's CORRY.D. Oh, autocorrect. See, you spell your name weird, so it autocorrects to a different
one. I know,
one.
it autocorrects.
Right. Yeah, Corey. Anyways, Corey is the right-hand man of Zach Farkas. Okay, Zach Farkas is on assignment in Guatemala. All right. So, Zach, if you're watching, all right, nobody likes you right now. All right. You probably are having a great time. We don't like you. You're in Guatemala having a blast at a wedding, whatever. So you send us the scraps. You send us Corey Doe, right? Anyways, funny story about Corey. Corey parked in my spot when I was the first sergeant once. And, I walked up to the office and of course, Roke was in there, and I'm like, hey, what the hell is going on in here? And I'm like, we can't. First sergeants don't actually deserve a parking spot. Okay, we don't actually get one, right? However, somebody's like, you know what? Maybe these first sergeants are old, their knees are broke. Maybe they don't want to walk as far as you young lieutenant. Okay, yeah. So the young lieutenant from West Point was like, screw this first sergeant, I'm better than him. Right. It's pretty much what he said the whole time. But no, he just didn't know that I was usually the first one to arrive in the battalion. And so I just, it happened to be the wrong spot. But anyways, he has since apologized. We have forgiven him. And he is here. Yeah, he is here. And we're going to talk VA loan stuff. And we're going to hit 3 points in this quick half hour. Okay. 3 big points. All right. One of them is raising interest rates. Are they going to come back down? Are they not? Corey's going to get into that. Then we're going to talk about inflation, right? And regardless of what you think or what the Big Earl thinks, Corey's going to give you the educated opinion on what the inflation rates actually mean and why they're doing what they're doing to the housing market. And that will lead in to the last thing we'll cover, which is the housing bubble of 2008 is nothing like what's going on right now. So, Corey, we appreciate you helping our veteran brothers and sisters understanding the VA loan and making their life easier. So let's get to the first point. First of all, say hi, and then what's
Hey,
up with
everybody.
what's up with these rising interest rates? What you got, Corey?
Yeah, so for anyone that's jumped into the house search to buy a home lately, what they've probably seen is, oh man, I didn't realize rates were as high as maybe I thought they were. So we had a nice, over the, kind of the COVID period, we had a nice period of time where rates were in the low 3s, high 2s. But kind of as a result of government spending with COVID, inflation took off. And so the Fed has since taken actions to try to combat this inflation through rising interest rates. So right now, the national average, last I checked, depends which metric you looked, rates have just topped about 5% nationally is kind of the average rate of new homes going into contract, which is about, for reference, where we were in 2019, 2018. So pretty much we're right back where we were pre-COVID. In 2018, for example, I locked my home with Zach when I was still in the Army at 4.75 in 2018. So we're not too far off of that, but we've had this honeymoon period where everyone was getting a 2.5, a 2.75, and now rates are starting to go back up.
Right. So we we apologize for the freezing internet over there on the magical rock of Oahu, which is where Corey is coming at us from. But yeah, there's a couple of points there. Okay, we got Corey back. There's a couple of points there that we've covered before. And so if you're watching for the first time, remember, this is all free advice. And if you want more free advice, email Corey Doe. He's in the email. Go to our website, check out Zach's link. If you check out Zach's link, they will give you the straight up and up. They are partners in our mission to lower the veteran suicide rate. So if that means helping you with your finances, that's what it's gonna do. Right. So they are going to give you this advice for free. If they can help you, they will. If they can't, they'll do their best to point you in the right direction. So if you have a house question or whatever, trust the Big Earl. All right. You can go to VTT's Big Earl's page. If any of these guys say the wrong thing to you, I'll go out to Oahu and I'll slap them. All right. So that's just but that's not going to happen. So yeah, people, if you talk to your parents, if you're like a 40-year-old like I am, and your parents are still alive, and you talk to their interest rates, they were like, 7, 8, 9%, and now we're at 4 and people are going nuts. Should we actually, this is going to screw up Chris's screen. I don't know what you did there, but, oh, we got 2 Corey Dows coming in. Let's, you guys go grab a drink here for a second. Chris, do I need to kick one of them out? Oh, he's going on his phone. Go landscape, Corey. Huh? Oh, do I got to bump him? Well,
We good now, sorry.
Yeah, which one do I bump?
Cancel the one. There we go.
All right, perfect. Yeah, turn your phone sideways. All right, he's still muted. So the Big Earl has to do what he gets paid for, and it's just MC the event. And this is what I'm good at. So until Corey comes in with his audio, it says it's connecting to audio, so it should be anytime soon. Remember, the interest rates are higher than they were the last 2 or 3 years, but they're not that high. All right, not for a house. So Corey, you have to unmute. What you got?
All right. Can you guys hear me good now? Sorry.
We got you. We got you. We got you. That's okay. So yeah, we're talking about rising interest rates. I brought in the fact that they're not as high as like my parents, not even close.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
so historically, we're still very, very low. When you factor in, basically, if you were to cut out the COVID honeymoon period, we're still extremely low on the historical rate chart. My dad always tells me he bought his first house in the 80s, and his interest rate was something like 14% for his first home when he bought in the 80s.
yeah.
So, I think some practical advice as we're getting into this, though, is that we really want to make sure, if you're looking to buy a new home right now, is you're not paying for the rate.
Okay. So you mentioned some pre-show. It's like, don't buy down your rate. So that's called points, right?
Correct. Yeah. So
Right.
a lot of people, right?
Let me stop you before you go, because I'm talking for the grunts out there watching. All right. So remember, when you get a house and they talk about, hey, your interest rate's going to be 4.75, but you can pay $6,000 and finance that $6,000 and bring your loan down to 315. And you're saying not to do that, right?
I am saying that, yeah. So a lot of the projections are that we're hitting a lot of recession indicators. And so typically in recessions, rates come down. So the Fed is raising rates to fight inflation. They're raising rates to try to get basically the excessive government spending that caused this inflation under control. So most projections think rates are going to kind of peak mid 2022, end of the year, and then fall back down in the later half of the year, early 2023. So if you are going to pay points to buy down your rate, and then rates fall where you could refinance to that same rate for free, you've wasted money. So the one thing I want people to really evaluate if they're considering buying points is what their break-even point is on that cost. So a lot of clients I have right now, if they buy even a few $1,000s down on the rate to lower their payment by a few $100s, that break even is in like 36 months, to where they're better off by buying down the rate versus taking the market rate, essentially. And so if based on the projections, if rates are going to come down in the next 12 months, it makes sense to just take the rate you're given, close on the home, and then refi for free later. You're better off doing it that route.
Okay, so for the idiots like me in the back, you're saying that if it doesn't make sense in 36 months, then take the rate you're given. But if you make money 36 months later, it's okay to buy down the points. Did I hear that right?
No. So what I'm saying is, a lot of it is, if you take, by buying down the interest rate, what you're doing is you're paying cash up front to have a lower monthly payment. So for example, let's say it costs you $1,200 in extra closing costs to save $100 a month. That break even on that money you fronted today is in 1 year or 12 months, because you're saving $100 a month by fronting that money.
Sure.
In most cases, what I see based on the case by case scenarios, that break even point is like around 3 years or 36 months of maybe buying to the next tier down to get some savings today. But given the fact that rates are likely going to come down in the next 12 months from where they're at today, that money is not going to be worth spending, because you should be able to refinance down to a lower rate at no cost. And because you would have hit that before that break-even point, that money essentially would have been wasted. And so you're better off just taking what you get, keep an eye on the market, and let's refi for free when the rates actually start to drop.
Okay, so right after this show, in case you're watching live and you want to rewind it or go back, so you can go on our YouTube channel or our platforms on Gruntworks and Veteran Trash Talk and rewind it. Otherwise, it'll be on every podcast platform. All right, so our producer will upload this to Castos, and then it'll be streamed out over Apple, Spotify, all that stuff, so you guys can listen to it again. So like what he's saying, which is what the title was of the event, was stop wasting money. All right, don't fall into the trap of getting scared that interest rates may never come back down again. Because before we get into the next topic, we talk about on other shows like the Trash Talk Hour, the Fifth Principle, all right, logic. Now, there's an interesting stat that Corey brought up pre-show that is about the 2008 housing bubble. When that bubble crashed, all right, on average, there was 14 million homes available at any given time, right? Currently, right now, depending on the month, it's about 900,000 homes available. Did I say that right, Corey?
You did. Yeah.
Okay.
So the demand for housing versus the availability of housing is totally different right now. So a lot of people that I've talked to, right, they see these home prices skyrocketing, right? Over the last year, we're talking 20% growth in a lot of housing markets. And people are like, that's insane, because that's continuing to forecast too. So Zillow right now, for example, they just adjusted their 2022 forecast up to 18%. And 2023 is looking at 7 or 8%. So even from now through the end of 2023, you're talking a total of 25+% growth over the next 2 years. And a lot of that is because there's just a ton of demand for housing, and there are not enough being supplied. So when people say
actual basic economics, so anybody that went to a junior college and took an economics class on supply and demand understands why the housing prices are going up, correct?
Exactly. So that's one factor.
So it's not a bubble.
Exactly. It's not a bubble because the demand is still far, far outstripping the supply, which is driving up prices, like you've highlighted as any, basic supply and demand. The other issue we have right now that is also fueling that fire is inflation. So, if you're looking at, okay, well, what about new houses, right? Let's just build more houses to help soften the demand. Well, if anyone saw, the price of lumber, the price of oil over the last year, you've seen these prices have gone up.
That's a good point.
So the problem is, not only do you have low supply, high demand for houses, you have an inflation problem that's fueling higher and higher new house builds. So even if you want to build a new house, it's going to cost you 8 to 10% more on a given month than maybe it would have cost you a year ago. So that also is one of the reasons we're seeing home prices rise. And it's because even for new houses, you can't build them cheaper than what's already in supply, given that all your materials are more expensive now.
Right. So again, a lot of this sounds confusing to, younger veterans, even older veterans that, aren't really into the housing market or buying houses or whatever. But as we've talked about, as we're growing in knowledge with our VA loan knowledge, all right, you can't really see it in the back, but VA loan knowledge, you're wasting money renting. All right. If you're a veteran, you are wasting money. And what we just talked about earlier in the show, if you weren't there, is it's a waste of money to fall into the scare of buying down a 4% interest rate to a 3% interest rate and go back and ask that. Now, none of this might not make any sense to you. That's why we keep saying it. Email Corey.Doust, Daoust at vmsloans.com. Email Zach.Farkas at vmsloans.com. Go on our website, Veteran Trash Talk. You can email these guys. These are veterans. They're infantry guys, right? They're grunts like us. All right. If you're not a grunt and you're watching on Gruntworks, it's cool. Like, we still love you. All right. We got the Pogue Live shirt going right now. It's awesome. So they will help you, even if they don't make a dime. All right. For some reason on social media, everybody wants free stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So on social media, here we are. That's our business, social media. Free. All right. You just got to email them. Email them and ask, hey, that stuff you were talking about with the big Earl on Veteran Trash Talk, what the hell are you talking about? All right. Talk to them in grunt language. They'll understand it. Hey, me don't read too good. This shit doesn't make sense. What 3.5? Right? They'll understand what you're saying. All right. So email them, ask them. All right. So let me recap a little bit here. Because I don't have any questions. Chris, we got any questions on Gruntworks? All right, here you go. No, we got Kevin S. Jones. Hey, Kevin, if you want more in-depth analysis of this, it's been covered before, so you can go on our podcast platforms, look it up, but we'll ask it again. Thanks for asking the question. Corey, can you get a foreclosure home with your VA loan?
You can. Yeah. So there's a special process for a foreclosure, but you can buy it with a VA loan.
All right. Is there any way that we can kind of get into that? Like what special process? How long does it take? Is it something that we have to prepare for? Is this might take 6 months, might take a year?
So the main difference is not necessarily with the loan side. It's with your state specific foreclosure laws and even your county, right, of how they handle foreclosures. The other thing you're dealing with too is you're not dealing with a seller agreeing to a purchase contract. You're dealing with a bank or like the city commissioner. So it's a longer process, and it can be difficult if you have, for example, a homeowner in there that doesn't want to leave. So we had somebody actually doing this last month, and they were getting delayed because the appraiser couldn't get into the property. And so even the sheriffs would show up to try to help the appraiser go through the property. And it was a bit of a headache for that owner. So it can come with some difficulties, and most of it has to do with not necessarily, there's really no main difference with the loan side. It's your purchase contract, and there may be some special rules or laws with timeline for your specific location.
Right. So those of you watching, just remember everything differs by state, and there's different laws and regulations by state. The point of that is what Corey just said. The main thing is do not try to rush something with the VA loan. All right. If you have to do it right now, all right, my advice, the big Earl would say, is do not use the VA loan. Right. If it's something that you're planning, okay, make sure you have about 6 to 8 months in case something goes wrong. Because I do know this from my house buying experience is that, and even refinancing that we tried before, is that if the appraiser comes in and doesn't appraise it what it's worth, right, then now you're kind of stuck. And what are you going to do next? And so make sure you allocate enough time. And I know I was a Ranger instructor, and we used to give a lot of no-goes for, it's called backwards planning. All right. Yeah. If you don't backwards plan properly in a lot of things you do in life, all right, don't be shocked when you run out of time. All right. And it's over. So, all right, I want a house September 15th. All right, the average VA loan closes in what? 90 days?
We close most of ours in 30 days for
Okay,
regular
so that's
transactions.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But foreclosures, I would plan on, a while. A lot of times too with foreclosures, uh, depending on the property, the state or the county will require a down payment in advance to secure the foreclosure. So our buyers, for example, were using a VA loan, but to obtain the foreclosure at basically the auction, they had to put 10% down upfront, day of.
Right.
So be prepared for something like that as well, where if you have no cash to be able to secure this, a lot of times your government that's, if it's a sheriff's auction for the foreclosure, they're going to require some sort of capital down to secure the property once you've won the bid.
Okay, awesome. So Kevin, he answered your question. You said thanks, brother. But hey, Kevin, just do us a favor and email Corey. Right? Email Corey, and he'll get into this with you. And like again, we vet everybody that we bring on camera. And this will segue into how I can kind of close it out with our plugs. Is those of you watching on Gruntworks, and those of you on VTT that are wondering why you're seeing a lot of Gruntworks posts on VTT, we bought Gruntworks. All right. So we're still working out the details of that. However, Gruntworks has a huge audience of veterans, and we felt like that was a good move for us because that brings in more people to do what our goal is. All right. Gruntworks' goal wasn't to curb the veteran suicide rate. All right. Their goal was to sell t-shirts. All right. Veteran Trash Talk, the whole mission we have is to lower the veteran suicide rate through hundreds of venues. All right. Whether that's your VA loan, right? Promoting a nonprofit, finding out what nonprofits suck, finding out what nonprofits work. All right. Promoting for-profit companies, promoting veteran authors. All right. Authors that have come out and shared their story. Right. And we want to get that story out to as many veterans as possible, because there might be 20 veterans that read that book and it saves their life. There might only be one. And so, like we always say on every Trash Talk hour, if we save one life because of this show, or we make one life better because of this show right now, if one of you emails Corey or emails Zach and your life gets better, that's the goal. Right? It's not what we want, because we want hundreds of people to get their lives in order, thousands of people to get their lives in order. But if we help one, was it really a waste of time? I don't think so. Right? I don't think so at all. And neither does anybody at Veteran Trash Talk. So Mickey says, wow, I'm impressed that Gruntworks is now veteran friendly. Well, they've always been veteran friendly. They just didn't have an actual goal. And I'm sure the previous owner will call me because we're kind of buddies, but I'll tell him that too. I was like, you didn't really have a mission. You didn't really have a goal, right? So again, we have a huge platform building, and the community is the strength. Just like if you have any knowledge about a VA loan and you want to argue with Corey or Zach when they're on, do it. Come on here and talk. Like maybe you're smarter than they are. And then we'll figure that out, right? And then the bottom line is embrace the ambiguity of the journey, embrace diversity, embrace that our group allows everybody in it, because why wouldn't we? Somebody who might not be a veteran might have the answer. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So again, Gruntworks is under new ownership. It's under the VTT umbrella, and it brought on about 600,000 more organic followers. However, yes, the things that we do cost money. And the more and more that we can reach and produce, we will. And this is one of the things that we do courtesy of the Veterans Mortgage Source. They give us money so that we can do this, right? They give us money so that we can hire the right people to produce it, that we can boost the ads to get the information out, right? I know the social media is weird that way, where everybody wants to know where the money's going, all right? The money is going to expanding the veteran network so that we can do it together. All right, so go check out veterantrashtalk.com, and then definitely Corey.Doust, D-A-O-U-S-T. He churches it up a little bit. Corey.Daust at vmsloans.com or zach.farkas@vmsloans.com. And again, they might not make a dime off of you, but they'll square you away. They're infantry guys. They're going to hook you up. So Corey, real quick, did we forget anything? Did we not cover something?
I think we got, a pretty good breakdown to cover the main highlights of what we're seeing today. So key things I guess I'd take away is, if you're catching the last 30 seconds, is don't spend the money to buy down the rates today. They're probably coming down in a year, so take what you get. And get, this isn't a bubble like 2008. And the forecasts are houses are going to continue to rise over the next 2 years, probably over 25%. So if you're on the fence about buying now or waiting, well, a year and a half from now could cost you another 20% in what you could have bought today. So, I think there's a lot of hesitation with the higher rates and the higher prices we've seen. My message would be, I don't think those are going anywhere for the prices aren't coming down in the, foreseeable future. And, the beauty of getting your house now, even if it's at a higher rate, is you can always shop the rate. You can't always shop the house. So secure the house, stop paying rent, and then we'll keep an eye out when we can get you in a more competitive rate to lower your payments when the market allows that.
All right. So in infantryman's terms, email them and they'll let you know when to buy and when to refinance, and they're going to hook you up. So let's put our money where our mouth is. And this is how we're going to close it out. So I'm going to talk for Zach because he's not here. He's enjoying Guatemala. So I'm going to put Zach's money on the line.
Okay.
Because I'm the talent, the big Earl. So Zach's money's on the line. All right. From April 6th, which is today, to April 10th, if you timestamp this, all right, April 6th to April 10th, and you email Corey or Zach, and they tell you buy the rate now, refinance a year later, don't buy any rate down. All right. In 12 months from now, April 6th to April 10th, we will give you the money that you would have made back. All right. How about that? All right. Now, again, it's easy for me to say that because it ain't my money. All right. But again, if it's a lot of money, I'll probably have to help Zach out. So anyways, that's the deal. Corey, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you to Veterans Mortgage Source for sponsoring Veteran Trash Talk and for allowing us to build this community that we are building. Now, remember, the bigger we get, the more diverse we get, the more powerful we are. It takes money. All right. So unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. That's the way this world works. We want to be the biggest network of veterans ever. So let's get it going. Veterans Mortgage Source has bought in. They will give you advice for free. Corey.Doust, Daust at vmsloans.com or zach.farkas at vmsloans.com. Go to veterantrashtalk.com and all the links to Zach are on there. So again, pleasure. Big shows coming up Saturday. We got UFC, baby, and Joe and Trigger Joe and Bill Send It 7 Pearson are going to be on there. And then we have a very special guest on the Trash Talk Hour at 1700 Eastern Time is Colonel Retired Nightingale. All right, best-selling author and an absolute monster of special forces in Vietnam, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, he's better than me and you, bottom line. And he's going to be on the show, and we're going to talk about how he killed people. Maybe. I don't know. We're going to talk about whatever the hell he wants to talk about because it's fucking Colonel Nightingale. So, all right, guys, we will see you on Saturday.